Alrighty guys, now if you're going to work on motorcycles or anything in the garage, the very first thing you got to do is clean up. And it's nasty in here. So let's fill these bad boys up. Wow, that escalated quickly. What is up guys, I'm Matt, this is Motorworks, and as you can see I only cleaned half of the garage. Yeah. Now just as the video said, we are going to be taking the engine out of this Thundercat today because it has the common issue that plagues these motorcycles and other early 90s, 2000 motorcycles where second gear decides it wants to be a neutral. So this bike, I say, has 5 forward gears and 2 neutrals. Now, replacing second gear isn't for somebody that's just learning how to wrench on a motorcycle. It's a little bit more technically involved. Now, I will try my best to break this down and make it as easy as possible so that you at home can follow along. And mainly it's going to be on the actual technical inside the engine part. In the video today, we are going to be pulling the engine out. Now, there's a bunch of things that I recommend you do first of all before you start to tear the engine out of this bike. Number one, have a location to put a large amount of parts. We're going to be removing fairings, gas tank, a bunch of stuff that's going to come off of this bike. So have room to put those parts, and don't stack them around your work area because they run the risk of getting damaged, broken, things like that. It can happen if you let them lay close to your area. So get them off, get them out of the way. That's number one. Number two, have plenty of drain pans because we're going to have to leak all the fluids out of this bike, both coolant and engine oil and possibly other fluids. I don't know yet, but make sure you have drain pans to catch the fluid. Basic hand tools. You're going to need all your metric ratchets, or sockets, I'm sorry. You're going to need all your sockets, wrenches, screwdrivers. So you're going to need a pretty large assortment of tools for this job. And they're possibly going to be different. This is an older motorcycle. This is a 98. Now, it is in really good shape, so I assume that it's probably got stock fasteners in it, but your bike could be different, so just be mindful of that. Somebody could have changed the fasteners on your bike. But yeah, so tools, drain pans, plenty of room, and as you can hear it, the music's playing, so I guess that means we're getting started. Alrighty, pop this air box off here. I also want to take a look at the air filter, make sure that it's clean because, again, we're going to make a parts list on stuff we need. So, air filter looks relatively clean. It's not disintegrating to the touch, so let's say air filter is still in good shape. Usually these things get broken around this bend line here, so this one looks really good, actually. So air filter is in good condition. We can put the air box back together. Alrighty, now that we're in here, just start to unplug wires that are hooked up to the engine currently. Now, the nice thing about motorcycles is all your plugs are going to be different. So they're pretty simple to figure out what gets hooked up where. So as you see here, these are all 2-pin plugs, but one's green, one's blue, and one's clear. So, you know, these wires are pretty self-explanatory, so you're not going to run into an issue where, oh crap, I didn't know what wire I just unplugged, and you don't have to remember wiring. So that's pretty nice that bikes, you're able to do that. Now this is a good time here to get out your phone and start taking pictures in here of how all this stuff is held down, fastened, where these hoses are routed, how these spark plug wires are routed, you know, especially down in here where you have a lot of wires that have to run over and under certain items. So get that phone out, start snapping a bunch of photos on what this stuff looks like, because when you go to put this all back together, this is going to be very confusing in terms of where everything goes. So I'm gonna keep plugging away. I gotta get the throttle cables off. And then once I have everything unplugged, throttle cables off and hoses out of the way, then I'm gonna lift the bike up and then we'll start removing the fairings, draining the fluids, and getting it prepared to pull the engine out. Alrighty guys, Ziploc baggies with the screws taped to the inner panel is the best way I found to keep track of those screws you removed. Alrighty guys, so I would say we're about halfway through this job here. Something amazing about when you take fairings, gas tank, that stuff off a bike, it literally took me less than an hour, and here the bike looks like it is stripped down to its bare bones. And all I did was remove a couple of fairings and, like I said, the gas tank. So we're almost ready to take this engine out of the bike. Now there's a few things you have to keep in mind. Now I was keeping track of the screws. Again, I have everything separated. Yes, my garage is a mess, but you know, I have the tank, it's out of the way, airbox out of the way. Same with the fairings, they're up on the wall. They're out of the way. They're solidly mounted. They look a little sketchy, but they're up there solidly mounted, and I don't have to worry about those. They're out of the way. Again, the camera's your friend here. Take a picture of anything you want to before you take this apart so that you know what screws go where, and then putting them in a baggie and putting them with that fairing is going to help you out on the assembly process. The other thing I want to do is anytime I take something off, so I just took the fairings off and I've got these tools spread out on the lift. I'm going to clean up the tools. I'm going to go set them on the toolbox and out of the way. And this is going to help you because now you can look around your lift area and you can look for any screws that you may have missed when you were taking those fairings off. And again, it's just to help you stay organized. I always do this as just a check. Now anything moving forward is going to be something that pertains to the engine removal. So it's good to separate. It's good to separate that stuff so then when we go forward, all we're focused on is the next task at hand. So we have to remove the exhaust. We're going to drain the radiator. We might remove the radiator. I haven't decided yet. I might just do it to save the engine from getting scratched or the radiator from getting damaged. It's only a couple bolts. You know, it's well worth the headache removing it, so I'm probably going to remove it. We'll have to disconnect the shifter. We'll have to unhook the chain. Now we're going to drain the fluids out of this because the music is playing me off. We're going to be taking this engine out, so you don't have to take out the drain hole. Just take off the radiator hose from the radiator. So just come on in there. This is going to make a mess. And come off. And come off. Alright guys, so we're getting really close to pulling this engine out of the bike, and what happens is I'm actually starting to get a little bit anxious and a little bit excited because the engine's coming out. So what I need to do right now is I need to clean up this mess because it's starting to pile up in little plates. I got little, hose clamps, zip ties, things like that, hoses, stuff's just dangling. I need to get this stuff sorted out. Sorry, I got the hiccups. I need to get this stuff sorted out so that when I go to pull the engine out, it's not going to land in a drain pan or something along those lines. And yeah, I just need to clean this up, and then we'll continue getting this thing torn down. But it's just something I wanted to point out because a lot of times you get here, you get excited, and clean up. That's all. Alrighty guys, now that everything is cleared and out of the way, I did unhook the spark plug wires because that's going to stay attached to the bike. So I did unhook those. I'm going to leave the radiator in because it looks like this engine's just going to drop straight down. When I was looking at it earlier, I thought that the swing arm pivot went through the engine. On some bikes that actually is the case where the swing arm is attached to the engine. On this bike, I don't have to worry about that. There's just two engine mounts, one up top and then one below down here. And then there are two mounts that look just like this on the other side of the bike. And once those are out, this engine will come out and down. It should be relatively easy from this point, so we're just going to keep plugging away. Alrighty guys, so the engine is out. Had a little crash landing there at the end. Kind of slipped off the jack, but no major damage. It only fell a couple inches, you know, so nothing got damaged when it fell over. It just slipped off the jack. I did learn a few things from pulling the engine out. Definitely take the carburetors off next time, and when I put it back in, I'm not going to have the carburetors on. I don't think they were the reason that it slipped off the jack, but yeah, it'll give me more clearance. I should have known. I should be smarter than that, but I don't know. Tried to do it by keeping them on. I highly recommend taking them off. But that's how you take the engine out of a motorcycle. More or less. I mean, some bikes are going to be different. On this one here, like I mentioned, it was nice that I didn't have to take the swing arm off. But engine's out. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Next video, you will see this on an engine stand. We'll have it flipped over, and we will be taking the transmission apart to see what actually is damaged inside that transmission. So again, thanks for checking out these videos, guys. They really help me out and growing the channel. But we'll see you in the next video when we got this engine on a stand. I got some cleaning up to do. One of many reasons motorcycles are better than cars. The engine is out. My hands are barely even dirty. And if I just want to take the engine out, put it on the ground, I'll pick it up. That's engine and transmission all in one. Do that with your LS. Booyah. Bikes are better.